Hey everyone, I am here to read you a story this afternoon. I know we're all probably feeling pretty lonely, being stuck in our homes and missing our friends. So I picked Lamont, the Lonely Monster. This was a book that my mother read to me when I was a little girl, and it was my favorite. So I hung on to it all the time. Lamont, the Lonely Monster. Once upon a time, there was a very lonely monster named Lamont. He was hairy and scary on the outside, like other monsters. On the inside, he was good and kind. More than anything else in the world, Lamont wanted a friend. He went from house to house looking for a friendly face, but the people inside always greeted him in the same way. After knocking on 77 doors without finding even one friend, Lamont was about to give up. But just then, he saw a little house that looked very friendly. So he decided to try once more. Lamont knocked softly on the door, and when it opened, he saw a little boy. One of my favorite things about this book is you could open and see what was inside. And there's the little boy. "Would you be my friend?" asked Lamont. "I have a better idea," said the little boy, who was very nice and didn't want to hurt Lamont's feelings. "Why don't you go over to Monster Mansion? You may find a friend there who's just right for you." Lamont thought that was a very good idea, so that very day he went to number 13 Dreadful Drive and knocked on the door of Monster Mansion. No one answered, so Lamont pulled the door open and saw Sam, the sulky skeleton. "Hello," said Lamont. "I'm looking for a friend." "What a bother," said Sam sulkily. "I'm not about to be your friend, but you can look around Monster Mansion if you want to. Better watch out for Uriah the Heep. He eats monsters like you for breakfast." Keeping that warning in mind, Lamont the Lonely Monster began to explore. "Maybe there's a friend in here," he said, when he saw what looked like a hope chest. But when he opened the lid, he found a sleeping vampire. "He doesn't look very friendly." "I better not wake him up," said Lamont, as he closed the lid. "And I'd better watch out for Uriah the Heep. He sounds dreadful." In the next room, Lamont heard the sound of heavy breathing coming from a closet. "Maybe that's a new friend trying to get out," said Lamont. But when he opened the door, there was a werewolf. "Rrrr," growled the werewolf. "He doesn't sound very friendly to me," moaned Lamont. And he shut the door and went on his way, hoping that he wouldn't run into Uriah the Heep. "My, what a lot of books," said Lamont as he went into the library. "Here's an interesting looking one called Open Here." You see it right there. As Lamont pulled the book from the bookshelf, it creaked open, and there stood a pair of ghosts. "It's Uriah the Heep," they screamed as they disappeared. "If people confuse me with that terrible fellow," said Lamont, "I'll never find a friend." Lamont walked down the hall until he came to a door where a lot of smoke was seeping out. Disregarding the sign on the door, he opened it to see what was inside. "Ah!" shrieked the witch. "How dare you interrupt me when I'm mixing my secret potion?" "Sorry, dear," whimpered Lamont. "I was just looking for a friend." "Be gone," cried the witch, "and may you meet Uriah the Heep before the day's out. He'll take care of you." "That's what I'm afraid of," shuddered Lamont as he crept away. "I'll try one more door before I give up and go home," said Lamont as he stopped before the largest door in the house. The Lonely Monster should have been more careful, but he was willing to risk anything to find a friend. He reached out and threw open the door, only to find, who do you think's in there? Uriah the Heap. It looks like I've found another victim, said Uriah. Please, Mr. Heap, Lamont stammered. I'd make a terrible breakfast. Couldn't we be friends? Friends, said Uriah the Heap. Friends? You and me? Friends? Well, that is why I came here, Mr. Heap. I want so much to have a friend. And at that, a great big shiny tear trickled down the cheek of Uriah the Heap. No one has ever wanted to be my friend before, he said. This is the happiest day of my horrible life. All the other creatures were lurking in the fireplace, could hardly believe their ears. There's all the ones that wouldn't be his friend. So, as the bewildered boarders of Monster Mansion looked on in amazement, Lamont the Lonely Monster and Uriah the Heap locked arms and walked into the sunshiny world and into the beginning of a beautiful friendship. I hope you all have a great night.